William Hill sponsors IFL TV.
I'm the man to beat Daniel Dubois. You're going to sleep.
This is Coogan Cassius for IFL TV in association with MTK Global. Wednesday morning here at headquarters of Mr. Frank Warren. Usually got a cardigan on, Frank. You got a suit on today.
Yeah, I got it at the pawn shop.
All right. How are you?
I'm good, yourself?
All good, all good. We've got a press conference later on today.
Yeah, that's why I got the jacket on.
That's why you got it on, for Joyce and Jennings and also Dubois Gorman. Yeah, well, there's only really one place to start. The landscape of the heavyweight division was blown wide open on Saturday night with a shock defeat for Anthony Joshua against Andy Ruiz. I know you would have been watching it as it happened. What did you make of it? What did you kind of assess from the night, Frank?
Look, first of all, Anthony Joshua is a British boxer, and it's good for British boxing to have world champions, certainly the heavyweight division. It's made it quite a sexy time for the heavyweights, what with Tyson and Deontay Wilder. And obviously the big fight we wanted and Tyson wanted was the fight of Anthony Joshua. He had a defence, as you know, on Saturday, and it all fell apart. And it fell apart for various reasons, you know, which for me were obvious reasons. One of those was that, and I didn't expect this fella to expose him the way he did, but I've always said on these interviews, and I'm not being an after-timer, I've always said I see a lot of flaws in AJ. I see a lot of good things that he does, but I see a lot of flaws. And these flaws are his defence. And, you know, that fight come out, it was a little bit uncharacteristic to start with. He was a little bit on the back foot. But when he clipped Ruiz, put him down, which was a good shot, Ruiz showed some balls, got off the canvas, and then took the fight to him, and then as everybody's seeing whatever, he knocked him over. And thereafter that, he never got into the fight again, and he exposed those flaws, because I think he's easy to hit. He's got no defence, and I made a lot of, I have said this a lot, and I felt that, you know, a clever boxer who can also bang like Tyson would absolutely exploit that. I mean, if Tyson had been there on Saturday, you know, just think what happened with Deontay Wilder, who's for me the biggest punch in heavyweight in the last 20 years in the heavyweight division. Same thing would have happened. So this guy who doesn't look the part of a fighter, you know, a little rollerball, he gets in the ring, he does what he's got to do. Fast hands, which I've done in my report, you know, not a bad chin and so forth. And it shows you don't have to be carved out of marble to be an athlete or a great fighter. You know, he's obviously got something in him. He went and turned the whole thing upside down, and it was, you know, the couple of things from the fight that I see, I was surprised how at times it didn't look like, you know, AJ wanted to be there, and certainly at the end of the fight, it's like he seemed, not saying relieved, but it was, you know, if somebody gets beaten in a fight, it wasn't the disappointment you'd expect. It was like, I don't know, it seemed like he was very friendly.
Was it a shock?
We're very sports, you know, great sportsmanship, but, you know, not how I would, you know, expect things to be. He, you know, he got exposed. He got badly exposed by this guy. There's no doubt about it. You know, defensive flaws were there, and he had a bit of help from the referee. I mean, the referee, you know, after the counts, he gave him time to recover. He didn't just like, oh, come on, box on. He held him up for a bit, let him get himself back into it. And at the end of the day, you know, we all see what happened. So why did it happen? Flaws were always have been there. I don't think they've worked on his defence. I don't think Robert McCracken does a great job for him as far as his defence is concerned. You know, all that training up in the in that amateur gym up in Sheffield, which is, I think, it's a liberty anyway. That's another story. Using, you know, the amateur squads facilities, which really, let's get it right, we pay for that, taxpayers pay for that, or whatever you want to call them, that the people pay for that, and they should, you know, that should be for the amateurs. But he uses a lot of amateurs as sparring and so forth. That's no end. And what also, it's not been reported otherwise as up to today, is the comments that his father made. And obviously his dad was very upset, and you can understand that. And people, when they're upset, say things. But, you know, to say what I mean what I've read, I've not heard it from his father, what I've read saying that he was knocked out a week before the fight by the guy from Italy, I can't think of his name now, the heavyweight.
Caballero,
yeah, knocked him out. If that's the case, what is he doing in the ring? I mean, that is absolutely a no-no. How can you allow that to happen? First of all, first of all, they're training in bigger gloves when they're sparring. When they're sparring, they've got bigger gloves on. For him to get knocked out and then be allowed to fight a week later or whatever it was, is wrong. If a fighter gets knocked out in a fight, in this country, boxing board and control, you've got a minimum of 28 days before you're allowed to step back in the ring to spar in training, let alone have a fight, before you can do any sparring. That is what's supposed to happen. And that's there for a reason, because of the head injuries that occurred with boxers over many years in the ring. Well, we've seen that happen, some bad tragedies. That's why they bring these regulations. It is a regulation, why they bring them in. And if that was allowed to happen, and the only people who can disprove it are the trainer, obviously Anthony himself, and his dad. You know, it either did happen or it didn't happen. If it happened, then something's seriously wrong. And it's not like, you know, Hearn's not got previous for putting people in the ring when they shouldn't be in there. He done it with Lee Purdy when Barry Hearns sat in a sauna with him the night before the fight, trying to get weight off of a fella who couldn't make the weight in his previous 2 fights, thus endangering his health. So much so that he was called by the board and they fined him a substantial sum of money because of what happened. Now, if you've got total disregard for boxers' health, then what you're doing in the sport, it's all well keep talking about, look at our accounts, look how much money we're making. That's one thing, but you have to have some accountability for the boxers' health and safety. And if Anthony Joshua, and if it's true, and I don't know whether it is, no one's just said it isn't up to yet, if it is true that happened, then somebody should have something should be done about it, and it should be done about it, because it's done something about it, because that is wrong. That's how fighters get badly hurt. That's how the sport gets a real bad name, that people don't give a monkeys about anything regarding the boxer's health. It's all about making money.
There's been a lot of conspiracy theories since the fight happened about Joshua's kind of demeanour going into the ring, inside the ring, stuff that's happened in sparring. We don't know any of this actually happened, that we've had no kind of clarification. I think Eddie Hearn put some tweets out the other day to say that he hadn't suffered a panic attack. That was suggested. A couple of other things he dismissed, but we haven't kind of had clarification of what's happened yet. I'm sure this will all come out.
Why don't they ask the fella who he sparred with? If he was sparring with that fella, he could justify that. He can say, no, I didn't knock him out, or yes, I did knock him out. That's it. So it either happened or it didn't. I'm not saying it happened. I'm only reading what his dad said, or allegedly said. I don't know what happened. I wasn't there. I don't know. The only people I know who know is the boxer, the guy who sparred with, AJ, his promoter, and his trainer. They all know, and the people around him now know. If it did happen, they should be ashamed of themselves, and they need to be accountable for that. If it happened, if it didn't, then his dad needs to come out and say something, and not let this carry on. Because all these conspiracy theories are one thing. At the end of the day, he got knocked out by the better man on the night. That's what happened. You can't take that away from a guy who took the fight, 5 weeks notice. You can't take that away from him. He did what he had to do, got off the floor, showed a tremendous amount of courage, took the fight to AJ and won. But if that other stuff happened, then that's another story.
Deontay Wilder and other people within boxing are suggesting that Joshua quit in that fight and gave up in that fight. What do you make of that, Frank?
I can see where they're coming from when they say that. You know, I think, you know, what I was saying, I was surprised of his demeanour in the fight. I don't know, I may be wrong, but I think something must have happened, because it was like he was pleased to get out of there. You know, he didn't want to be there. When he went back to the corner, what do I do next? I mean, anyone who's watching the fight live or sitting ringside wouldn't have heard that on TV, watching the TV. You can hear him saying that. He says, what do I do next? That was in a couple of rounds, or I don't feel myself. So something.
Why am I feeling like this?
Why am I feeling like this? So something was wrong. something was wrong or whatever, and that was it. And as I say, he was, for me, he was. It seemed like a relief for him. I don't know, and I look at Tyson Fury getting knocked down by the biggest puncher ever in the last 20 years. Knocks him down. Everyone thought it was all over. I watched Tyson Fury get up, get back into the fight. Not only get back into it, I mean, I'm a tremendous puncher. Get back into it and come back and wins the round. Winning at the end of the round. And look at the difference of the both of them.
What has this kind of? How has this affected the heavyweight division, kind of, in terms of financially?
Well, there's
the lucrative big fights that were talked about all week. I mean, there was literally little talk of Ruiz and Joshua. The more talk of the week I was there was Fury Joshua and Wilder Joshua.
That's why you can't overlook these guys. You can't overlook them. But the fact of the matter is, there is a rematch clause. They've said that, and they've invoked that clause. So, provided that AJ still wants to fight on, I'm sure he does, they will have the rematch. So that will happen sometime this year, probably in the next 5-6 months this year. In the meantime, our man Tyson's out in the States. He's fighting Tom Schwartz on the 15th of June. He'll have his fight. Then after that, he'll be out again in the autumn. And then hopefully we'll get the fight on with
Deontay Wilder.
Yeah.
So, just coming back to that, Frank. So Wilder come out the week of fight week, kind of announced his fight with Luis Ortiz. That'll be his next fight.
That's correct.
He then said that after Ortiz it will be Tyson Fury. So are we to assume this is going to be early 2020 as opposed to late 2019?
Look, the fight will happen until the only one at the moment who can say when that's going to happen is Tyson, and all he's focused on at the moment is Tom Schwartz. That's his next fight. Get that out of the way, then all these questions will be answered. That's what we have to focus on. He's not taking anything for granted. Focus on that. Don't want to talk about any other stuff. Let's get that one out of the way. It's only, 13, 14 days, what is it, 12, 13 days
Yeah.
away. Get that out of the way, then we'll all know where we are. You'll be out there, and it'll obviously then everyone will say will reveal what's going on. But until then, all Tyson wants to do, and I've got to tell you, I haven't seen Saturday, that's how it should be. Focus on that, because Tom Schwartz, whatever you want to call him, he's 24-0, undefeated fighter, looks like a fighter. He sees this as his big moment, and I'm not taking anything for granted, and certainly Tyson isn't. He's training as hard as this for this fight as he did for any of his fights. For the Wilder fight, he's training. All he's focused on is that fight. Get that out of the way, because that is a potential banana skin. There's no big odds on. These big juggernauts get in the ring, throwing bombs. One of them connects, it's all over.
Frank, just going back to Joshua, considering kind of obviously you're involved with Tyson and this Joshua fights for the rival promotional company, did it give you satisfaction to see that the other night?
No, I didn't. I don't care monkeys about Hearn's situation. I mean, I don't think anybody. I mean, of course, you get all the texts coming through and all the remarks and that, and I get that, but I felt sorry for it. I don't mean that being, like being pitying. I genuinely felt sorry for Anthony Joshua. I could see in that fight he didn't want to be there. I was watching it. What's going on here? And I felt for him in as much that I don't know. It's just something went wrong. I don't want to see a British fighter get beat like that. I want to see him when he gets beat. I'm telling you from my heart. When he was to get beat, I wanted it to be Tyson Fury to do it. I didn't want Ruiz Jr. I don't want to see Wilder do it. The one I wanted to see beat him was Tyson, because I'm with Tyson. That's what I wanted to see. It's a massive fight. It's a great fight for the British fans. An all British heavyweight fight against two, certainly, one guy holding 3 belts and the other one being, for me, the real heavyweight champion, which now is undisputed. Undisputed who's the best heavyweight out there now. He beat Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, after being out the ring for that time. He beat Deontay Wilder. He is now the number one. For me, he always has been, but now no doubt about it, who the number #1 heavyweight is in the world. It's Tyson Fury. So I wanted to see that proved. I wanted to see him in the ring with AJ.
Has the possibility or the kind of urgency of a Joshua Fury fight has taken a huge hit, obviously, but it's still a big fight, Frank, isn't it?
Well, of course it's a big fight. I mean, I'm sure people would bet, but it's not going to happen anytime soon, is it? That's for sure. If he's got his fight lined up, if he's going to do the rematch, that'll be sometime in November or December, maybe. I don't know. Depends how long he's going to take out, and depends what happens. I mean, he might have some changes. Who knows what he's going to do, where his head's going to be when the dust settles and they all look back at it and think. And certainly some of the questions that are unanswered, whether they get answered or not, I'm certainly behind the scenes they all knew what went on. Then they'll make their decision as to what they're going to do.
But a lot hinges on that rematch, doesn't it? For the kind of the whole.
Not for us.
Surely it has some effect.
No
there, Frank.
effect. No effect. No effect. Because Tyson is doing what we set out to do. His future's planned out, provided he keeps winning, and that's to make his name in the States, build his audience out there, and to fight Wilder. That's the plan. That's how the plan's been, and that's what the objective is to do.
Okay. Just moving on from that, Frank, what's the current situation regarding Anthony YARDE-Kovalev?
We haven't announced it. We've been asked time and time again to announce the fight. We have signed for that fight to take place in June in Russia. We signed for it, and we're waiting, as we sit here now, we're waiting for them to come back and tell us what the hell is going on.
So you don't know why 3.5 weeks out from a potential date, which was
well,
rumoured.
I do, but I'm going to give them. There's things going on now which I don't want to discuss because we signed for it. Our man, Anthony Yarde, not a problem. Yes, I'm going. It's signed. We've signed the contract, sent it back. That's intention to fight. Just like Billy Joe Saunders did to fight Golovkin. Signed those contracts. It's been sent back. We've got them. They've signed them and sent them back to us. And that fight is not.
So both sides have signed.
Yeah,
Kovalev signed
absolutely.
and your side have signed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I'm not the promoter, and we're waiting to find it. Well, we're waiting to establish. At the moment, there is a problem. Not from our end, from their end, they're a problem. But that will be a problem from them, from us, because all that it's quite ironic. All this crap we've had over about for a year over Anthony Yarde and the fact that he so-called won't fight anybody, even though the fact he has fought some decent fighters. Here we go again, signed, and we're in this position.
His trainer Tundi has kind of put out some stuff over the last week or so, suggesting there was an issue with WILDER testing and Kovalev's team.
Part of any part. I mean, I can't. There's a confidentiality clause in the contract, but I'm not breaching it to say that Anthony Yarde signed up per his contractual obligations to sign for the WILDER testing. He did that. He fulfilled his part of the bargain, the contractual obligation. He's done that.
Okay. But you can't comment whether the other side have done that or not.
Well, as I say, we've got a contract there, and it will get there. But we're not hanging around. This week it will come to a head.
Okay. Do you expect it to go ahead at the end of the month?
Not in Russia, I don't know.
No.
But we'll see.
Okay. Is there a chance that the title gets relieved from Kovalev?
I don't know. You've got to ask the WBO that. But the fact of the matter is, we want to get the fight on. He's hanging around, training hard.
It must be a frustrating situation for him.
Well, it's frustrating.
Because,
you know yourself. You want to go to Russia, you have to get an invitation, a letter.
Yes,
from,
absolutely.
We had none of that. Nothing.
And that takes a long time to do.
We're not had anything, so nothing's come through yet.
Okay, when you have news, please kind of fill in the gaps on that one. Massive week next week for yourselves. Double header from Las Vegas and Leeds. So where are you going yet?
I'm going to Vegas.
Are you going to Vegas?
Yeah, I'm going to Vegas.
Okay.
I've got to go to Vegas because it's a Sky. Sorry, Sky. How come I've got Sky? What did I say in Sky for? Something wrong with me. No, I've got to go. I've got to go. I've got to go there because it's on the BT box office.
Obviously. Huge week. Galahad and Warrington. I'm going to be in Vegas as well. I'm a bit gutted to be missing that fight actually, because got Zalfa Barrett and Leon Woodstock on the card as
It's
well.
a fantastic.
Metcalf and Wellborn.
I'm gutted that we announced that show, and then obviously this was the only date that they could come up for Tyson. So it is what it is. But it's a fabulous night boxing on BT. Great fights in Leeds. You just mentioned them all. I mean, what a night that's going to be. I mean, it's just a proper fighting card. Every fight on there is going to be. Well, I just think they're all going to be great fights. Excitement, dramatic moments, and important for all the boxers that are on there.
Do you expect Galahad to give Warrington a tougher fight than Frampton did?
Styles make fights. I hope not. But having said that, no one thought Josh was going to give Frampton. We're going to give Carl a tough fight. No one thought Josh was going to give Selby a good fight. So, a lot of people are saying now, I get where they're coming from. Kid Galahad, he's undefeated. He's there on merit through winning an eliminator. His style's going to be wrong for Josh and so forth. And I get that, and I hear where they're coming from. But from where I'm sitting, Josh Warrington's style's wrong for everybody. He does what he has to do, and he's been very successful in what he's doing. He's been, I think, he's been a sensation. I think he's probably the most improved British boxer on the world scene by far.
So if you're not in Leeds or Las Vegas, you've got a night at home.
Yeah, you
planned out there.
Well, all you got to do is just to go to BT, watch that fight in Leeds, and then straight over to BT box office, and bang, you've got the big man. Okay.
All for 20 quid, the whole night.
Yeah, how about that?
What can you buy for 20 quid nowadays anyway?
What can you buy for 20 quid?
Not a lot.
Not a lot, mate.
It's not even a drink in London in some places.
Arsenal player you could buy for 20 quid.
Let's not.
Yeah,
Let's do that. At least Liverpool done us a favour. Anyway. Frank, any serious legs in the potential of Billy Joe Saunders and Callum Smith?
Look, from our end, not an issue. Not an issue. It's a very easy fight for me to make. It's one of those where they're both champions. 50-50 deal. Straight down the middle. Why shouldn't you? There's no problem making that. They both bring something to the table. They're both super British world champions. Great fight for the fans. Not a problem with me. One phone call, done. One phone call and it's done. I mean, the money won't be a problem. It's 50-50 deal. Let's just do it and get it done.
What about from a broadcast point of view?
What about from a broadcast point of view? Well, we've made an offer to them. I've spoken to Joe Gallagher, his manager, and he told me his next two fights are planned for the next. Well, one's already gone, so he's got another one, and then let's talk about it for next year. But Callum's not going to be making super middleweight next year. Joe, I know that, and you know that. So let's just get the fight on. He had a super win the weekend, beat that Nadam, so that sets it up for being a big fight.
But the immediate plans for Billy Joe Saunders, could it be a mandatory defence?
Don't know yet. We're working on that at the moment. But what I want is to make the unification. That'd be a great fight for the autumn, for the fans, for everyone, for British boxing, world boxing. It's a great fight.
Do you know what month he'll be out next, Billy Joe?
I want to get him out if I can, sometime in September.
In the UK?
We'll see where we go.
Oh, okay. You announced Joe Joyce, his opponent, a few days ago.
That's a good fight.
Bryant Jennings, yeah. To go as co-feature to Dubois and Gorman. So, another. Well,
he was having when he fought in Rebus, he was in front till he got clipped in that last round. I mean, that was a really good fight, well ranked. For our man's come up to now, Joe's come up to his ninth fight now. Is it his ninth pro fight?
Ninth, yeah.
It's his ninth pro fight. So this is, he's being pushed on. He's being matched quite tough at this stage of his career for a guy who's only had that amount of fights, pro fights. So this is a good fight and a tough fight. And Jennings is no schmuck. He's ranked above it. He's ranked above Joe in the independent rankings. So in BoxRec. So. I think this is a good test for him.
I'm assuming there's still fights to be added to that card. I know you've announced some fights on the card, but I'm assuming that card isn't complete yet, Frank.
No, it isn't, and we're still working on it. Still
Okay.
working on it. And then obviously, we've got a great domestic fight, which I think's got a lot of implications now. I mean, the change at the top is what it is, but it's what's coming along beneath that. And you look at Daniel Dubois and Nathan Gorman, and you look at Joe Joyce. You're going to get 2 British winners out of this, unless one's a draw. You get, provided Joe wins, provided whoever wins the other one. So whoever wins those fights, they're going to be ranked. I think they'll go straight into the top 5, and I think they're going to wind up becoming mandatory challengers, certainly by the end of the year, if not before. Because you look who's around. These guys are every bit as good as him. He's got a lot to learn, Daniel Dubois. But if he'd have been in that ring on Saturday and clipped him, and clipped AJ, it'd been all over. It's no secret what he's done when he sparred with him when he was a kid. So,
Do you believe he would have knocked Joshua out if he was in the ring?
I think he's a much bigger he's a much bigger puncher than Ruiz. Much bigger puncher than Ruiz, yeah. And I'm going to tell you something, and I might be being a bit controversial. The winner of that fight, I'd have no problem, the winner of the fight, the British heavyweights, no problem matching them with AJ now. No problem.
But that fight probably wouldn't make any sense for Joshua at this stage of his career.
What about sense? I'm talking about the
put it
confidence I've got in the guys.
I just think Joyce would have fed, because obviously Sam Jones had put Joyce, or
Put him
tried to throw
forward.
him in.
Well, he put
to
him
the
forward
mix.
to fight again. I think I really don't. I think now, especially the way how that fight ended, and watching the fight, we know he can punch, but as I say, boxing's not about who's the biggest puncher. And those flaws now have been dramatically exposed, and they'll give confidence to anybody who's fighting Anthony Joshua. And the only way he's going to try, and he may not be able to, but the only way he's going to try and, in any shape or form, to change that is to change his trainer.
Have you got any more shows you're going to announce for either this or next month? Kind of before
Yeah, we're
the
working
summer
on
break?
something at the moment. I was hoping to announce it today. I'm just waiting for BT to come back to us. We've got another potential date in August, which we're looking at.
In August?
Yeah, early August.
Early August?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Frank, have you got anything else you'd like to put forward or add?
No, I think we've done everything. Have we anything you can think of?
No, I think we've got a press conference in a couple of hours, so
Yeah.
if this is anything...
You going to press her?
Yeah, I'm going straight there now.
Oh, good. All right then. Lovely.
I'm getting in your boot.
Oh yeah. How are you going to get in? How do you know my Reliant Robin's got a boot?
All right, Frank Warren, thank you very much for talking to IFL TV. Yeah, like I said, the weekend's activities have definitely kind of literally blown
That's
the whole
boxing.
division. Yeah.
Listen, that is what's so dramatic about boxing. That's what's so, by boxing, you can't blink, and everybody's an expert, including myself. But look what happens. Anything, one punch dramatically changes the whole
It could
landscape.
literally happen in any fight. That's
Of course
what
it
the
can.
reality of it is, isn't it?
Of course it can. That's what it's about.
Doesn't happen
That's
often,
why
but-
it's not like a football match where you lose a match and then the next week you play and you win, except if you're Arsenal. It's, it is what it is.
Okay. Just quickly, any news on Cole Frampton, when he will be out?
I think he's fighting. I'm hoping he's fighting sometime over the summer, late summer.
August?
Hope so.
Okay, no problem. Frank Warren, thank you very much for talking to IFL TV, and yeah, we'll speak to you very, very soon.
Lovely.
William Hill sponsors IFL TV.
I'm the man to beat Daniel Dubois. We're going to sleep.